TikTok prank gone wrong. This happened during my holiday at my grandmother's house. After my mom died, my grandma raised me. I eventually moved out and started a life of my own, but I still remained in touch with her. I was pretty excited to visit her after a really long time. I took my friends Marco and Tim with me. On our way, Marco said, "So how is the area where your grandma stays?" I replied, "Well, she lives down the countryside. There's a dense forest near that area. It is quite famous amongst the local people." Tim asked in a curious tone, "What is so special about that forest?" I smirked and replied, "Well, there's a waterfall inside that forest." Marco said, "That's nothing special. There are numerous waterfalls in this world." I laughed and said, "That's quite true, but this waterfall is unique on its own. There's many stories regarding it. Grandma will tell you when we get there." We got onto the refreshing country road. The cool air calmed us, and we drove our stress away. After 3 hours of drive, when we reached Grandma's house, we saw the sun was setting behind the trees. As I honked the horn, Grandma opened the door and came to greet us. I was excited and happy to see her for a long time. I hugged her and said, "Oh, Granny, I missed you so much." She caressed my hair and said, "I missed you too, my dear. Come on, let's get inside. You boys must be hungry." The house was still the same way I left it. I sat on the couch. My friends sat next to me. Granny gave us lemonade. The amazing smell of delicious food was roaming all over the house. I took my friends to my room. They all brought their own sleeping bags. After settling with their luggage, we all freshened up and came downstairs. The dining table was filled with tasty dishes. Granny cooked my favorite roasted chicken. There was mashed potatoes, fried vegetables, and soup. After such a long drive, we were hungry like hell. Without wasting a single second, we all jumped on the food. After a delicious dinner, we all sat in the living room. Granny sat down on her rocking chair and started knitting a muffler. Marco said in a hesitated voice, Granny. Richard was telling us about a waterfall inside the forest nearby, but he said there are stories regarding it." Granny laughed and said, "Oh, Richard already mentioned the waterfall." I said, "Tell them the stories you used to tell me as bedtime stories." Granny said it in a low voice. "Well, there are many events that happen there. Local people have named it the Suicide Waterfall." Tim said in a surprised voice, "Suicide Waterfall? That's a very unusual name. What happened there?" Granny said, "Many years back, there was a beautiful girl named Layla. She fell in love with a traveler. The boy came here from the city. They spent time together. But one day, the boy returned to his house and Layla got heartbroken. Her father decided to marry her to a village boy. Out of anger and disgust, she jumped from the waterfall. Her head bashed on the hard rock of the waterfall and she died. After this incident, 5 to 7 suicides have taken place there. Local people believe Layla's haunting spirit still roams there and pushes people to commit suicide. Tim and Marco exchanged looks. I could already tell they were a bit scared hearing the story. But to put up a brave face, Marco said, "Well, this is just a scary story, I guess." I said in a sarcastic tone, "Yeah, maybe." Tim said, "What about we go there? I mean, tomorrow. We have nothing else to do." Granny smiled and said, "I have never seen any ghosts there all these years, though." We called it a night and went to sleep. The next morning, we got up and started to prepare ourselves for our day out. After lunch, we 3 started to walk towards the forest. By the time we reached the forest, we realized how distant this area is from the locality. Birds were tweeting in the trees. Marco was making TikToker videos. We were walking and enjoying the views around. After 10 to 15 minutes, Tim said, "Did you guys hear that?" I said, "Yeah, we're almost near the waterfall." When we reached the waterfall, our eyes were amazed with joy. The waterfall was beautiful. The sound of water churning echoed in the forest. Tim started taking pictures, while Marco came to us and said, "Let's make a TikTok video. Who knows, Layla might accompany us too," and started to laugh sarcastically. We took a couple of videos with the waterfall in the background. It was a fun time. Everything was going well when Marco played the first video to check. As soon as he played the video, something weird happened. Along with the sound of nature and waterfall, we heard a sobbing sound, as if a woman is crying. Marco said, "Did you hear that?" We listened closely again. There was a crying sound. Someone was crying and gagging in pain. Tim said in a confusing tone, "Play the next video." As soon as Marco played the second video, we heard the sobbing again. We all got freaked out and started to look around us. The sun was setting already, and darkness was taking place around us. There was no one except the three of us. Marco said in a scared voice, "Let's leave, guys." As we started to walk, a woman's figure appeared in front of us from the bushes. She was dressed like a village girl. As she lifted her face, we saw her head dripping blood. A side of it was smashed, as if something hit her head hard. I couldn't believe my eyes. Since childhood, I've come here many times, but never have seen her. We had no doubts. It was Layla's ghost standing in front of us. Tim said in a freaked out voice, "Is this real?" Marco and I couldn't reply. Our lips were sealed with an unknown fear. Layla started to laugh hysterically. She then faced towards the waterfall, and her laughter turned into painful sobbing. In front of our very own eyes, she jumped into the waterfall. We heard a huge splash, and everything got dead silent. We started to run frantically. Tim fell down and broke his ankle. Marco and I carried him to the house. Our trip took a bad turn, but somehow we managed to come back. Granny said we might have hallucinated in the darkness, but I still have those TikTok videos. Whenever we play those videos, we still hear Layla's cry playing in the background. So something weird has been happening lately. For starters, I want to say that I'm an atheist and don't believe in any god, the devil, or any spirits. After this incident, however, I'm not sure what to believe. My girlfriend died on the 7th of August of 2023. Her name was Emily, and she was an amazing woman. Her death was caused by a drunk driver on the freeway while on her way home from work. Life kind of went downhill for me after she died. I didn't talk to anyone and sort of became withdrawn from society. I spent less time around friends and family, calling off work, and turned to the internet for attention. I mostly spent most of my time on TikTok, as this was around the time everyone had been hyping it up. I spent time on other platforms, but TikTok was the main one. I didn't post on it. I just sort of used it to watch videos and stuff to see all of the popular trends and news. One day, after a long and boring time at work, I had opened up TikTok and saw that it had a direct message from someone. Now, rarely do I ever get any message requests, and when I do, it's usually from a friend. I open it, and to my shock, I see it's from Emily's account. I guess her family must have forgotten to deactivate her account and assumed that it had to be her younger brother on it. This was strangely weird, as I barely know her brother, and he's like 9, so I was rightfully confused. The message was a single hello, and out of curiosity, I typed back, asking if it's her brother. However, instead of getting an actual answer, I just get bombarded with 2 more hellos and a "how are you?" "Alex, it's not nice to be on Emily's account texting me," I said. All of a sudden, 2 completely out of random texts pops up. "Avocado toast?" "Yo, I don't know," asked Jason. To put it into context, the avocado toast comment was something we always enjoy eating on Saturdays, and "yo, asked Jason" was an inside joke I don't feel like explaining. At this point, I come to the realization that there was a hacker on Emily's TikTok account and was recycling old messages from previous conversations. There was even stuffer, and I had discussed in person and not over the phone. I assumed whoever this person was knew Emily really well and was playing some sick joke in the worst way possible. Now, you might be wondering why I didn't just delete my TikTok. I wish I had, and I did for a little while, but when I came back, the text started to appear again. Hello happened a million times, and whenever I responded angrily or upset, her hacker would just spit out nonsense. Then one day I had sent what I assumed was Emily's hacker a message, asking them why they were doing this and why they seek pleasure in messing with people. 2 weeks later, I get a response, but it's the same recycled messages from previous chats. I remember about 20 plus, but the ones that really stood out to me were how we were going to get married and if I still wanted kids. For whatever reason, those were the two that really broke me, as we were actually planning on getting married and having kids. After months of this happening, I really started to miss her and began messaging her, not caring who was on the other side. The thought of talking to her in some way really brought me joy. One day, her TikTok account had suddenly been deleted for unknown reasons. I'm not sure if it was banned because of a hacker or if it really was Emily. This devastated me for a good while, and I even thought of myself going mental because of it. I ended up going to a psychologist who had to explain that it was all in my head and that my girlfriend really was gone. I know it sounds crazy, but I have no explanation for what took place. If it really was her sending me those messages somehow, I'm entirely grateful for being able to talk with her once more. I used to frequently use TikTok watching trick shots, gaming posts, and other comedy clips. There was one guy who I followed though. I won't say his name, but the clips he posted were very unusual. They weren't very nice, to be honest. He used to wear this featureless mask and do things like spy on people in their house and frighten them. He even went as far as to attack someone. I gotta say, I'm not sure if it was real or not, because the clips would end before you could tell, but it felt genuine to me. I'm not proud that I watched this guy harass and assault people, but I did. One day, I noticed I had gotten a new follower on TikTok. It was the same guy that I just mentioned. At first, I was a bit worried, but shrugged it off. I was in an underground parking lot after I was done grocery shopping. It was late in the evening, so the parking lot was practically empty. Well, it looked empty, but I could feel that there was someone there with me. I suddenly became very paranoid. That night, I was scrolling through my TikTok and saw a clip that made my heart sink. It was me in the parking lot looking anxiously around my surroundings. It was by the same guy that had followed me on TikTok from earlier. The next 2 days were the same. I was very paranoid, thinking I was being watched and followed, and my suspicions were confirmed because each night that guy had posted, it was clips of me. I felt sick and decided to call the police. Unfortunately, they said there wasn't much they could do, as no crime had been committed. A week went by and the post stopped. I started to relax, thinking maybe he had just moved on, and it was all part of his prank thing or whatever. That was until I was attacked outside my house. I was hit over the head with something. I fell to the ground nearly knocked out, but I was still conscious enough for a moment to see. What I saw will haunt me forever. It was a man standing over me with a featureless mask, holding the phone up. I passed out, but the next thing I remember was waking up in the hospital. I was found by someone who lived nearby. I told the police of what happened, but his account had been deleted. Whether or not his clips were staged or fake, his assault on me certainly was real. The weird thing I don't understand is why he deleted his account after attacking me. Unlike the other people, I deleted my TikTok. This incident and the experience has scarred me for life. I just want to tell you, be aware of your surroundings, because you never know who could be watching you. Honestly, I would stay off of TikTok and any other social media.